Hello again everyone, welcome back to my humble channel. It's great to have you all back. So last time I made a video, we're discussing the constellations and the Mazzaroth, where Jupiter and Saturn were forming a conjunction, and the media was calling it the Christmas star or Bethlehem star, which it wasn't. It was totally different to that, which if you want to go back to that and use that as a reference, it was actually Jupiter and Venus. Totally different meaning. If you do look closely at all the planets, they do represent things to do with Christ, especially Jupiter, where it's you've got all the wounds on it. You've got the large wound in the side, the big red spot they call it. You've got the crown of thorn wounds all around the top of Jupiter, where it looks like a crown of thorns is pierced flesh. I've had a really good look at it, and I tell you what, it's literally mind-blowing to see things like that. And it just proves to me more just how real everything is that we believe in. Now, so we were told that that was over. It was a one-day event. It's over. Forget about it. Go on with your business. Put your mask back on. Blah, blah, blah. No. I said, I'm going to keep watching that. Guess what? Mercury has joined the show. That conjunction was still there, Jupiter and Saturn. And then Mercury came along and joined them. Now, I don't know exactly what it means, but it's in Capricorn. It's in the western skies. Now, I think it's dipped too low below my horizon now, so I can't see it anymore. So I've heard interpretations that Mercury can be interpreted as like a messenger. I've heard it interpreted as Michael the Archangel. I've heard it interpreted as the dragon even. Who knows, it could mean all three. I don't know. But it's happening now, and it's going to happen, the actual conjunction, it's going to happen at the same time as the inauguration. 70 years of Jerusalem. Okay, that's another thing I want to go on to. Okay, we've all been taught that it's 70 years of Israel, and they even had a big celebration about it. You know what they're keeping quiet right now? 70 years of Jerusalem. And that there was literally meant to be what Jesus meant. It was Jerusalem. It wasn't all of Israel to be 7 years. It was just Jerusalem. And it's been worked out that, and they're celebrating it. 70 years of Jerusalem. So, and that happens, I think it was on the 23rd. 23. I've said in a few of my previous videos, 23 was a significant number for some reason, because they keep bringing it up in Hollywood movies, in music videos. Julius Caesar was stabbed 23 times. You see that movie Deep Impact, where they have two doors, and some go into the door 22 and some go into door 23, and there's so much going on with 23. So there's something to look at. There's something of interest. So yeah, there's looking at the planets, the Mazzaroth. I mean, guys, check out the Mazzaroth. I told you that if you look to the very north of all the constellations, there's a king sitting on a throne and a queen sitting next to him, a bride. Represents the bride. It's absolutely fascinating, and it will fill you with wonder and joy and all that. So there's all that going on. So keep an eye on those planets. I think you might be able to see it in the southwestern sky in the northern hemisphere, or it might be a sign. It might be a sign for Israel. I went to watch Gene Kim again. I gave him another chance because he started talking rubbish about people who look at the stars, and without no joke, when I went on there and I started watching him again, he did the same thing. He didn't just belittle people who looked at the stars and what's going on. He verbally annihilated them. And I was like, you know what? I used to think you were a really intelligent guy. And, man, his ego has exploded. He reminds me of, like, I don't know if anyone's ever done karate or anything. Have you ever had a karate instructor or something like that who's just completely full of themselves? You know, they like to get some guy up and demonstrate on them and belittle them, and so they can feel powerful. This is what this man's become. And he is on the I believe he's going to be raptured in the middle with his teachings. He's going to be raptured in the middle of the 14 years that I've explained. I believe that's real. I believe 14 years is true because it's been proven to me point by point by point. So it's all right. You can be raptured before, in the middle, and at the end. It's what you want. That's what God's saying. He's saying it's what you want. What do you want to do? Do you want to go through this? Okay, all right. Buy your survival gear. Buy your ammo. Buy your bunker. Get ready to get down there and survive it. How? That's a horrible thing to go through. So it's almost as if it's like, it's what you choose. Choose your own adventure. If you want to go in the mid and you keep harping on about that's the truth, the middle, that's what you're going to get. But if you're like looking right now, looking at the stars, watching what the wandering stars and Mazzaroth, you're looking at the world events, you're lining everything up. I think that's us. If you're sort of on board with what I'm saying, I believe. You don't have to agree 100% everything I'm saying. And as I said, I'm not here to teach. I'm just saying this is what my understanding is. This is what I'm getting from it. I get some funny people in the comments. I had a guy, I think it was last video, it was the last video, and he said my ego has gotten out of control. He said my ego got the better of me. And I asked him to explain, and no reply. I don't know how he got that. All I'm doing is pointing things out. I mean, you don't have to watch, you don't have to agree. Leave a snarky comment. And I was trying to just go through that video, like, how did I let my ego get out of control? You know what? It's that spirit, isn't it? It's that negative spirit. It's that accusing spirit. Accusing you of doing something you never did, or accusing you of something that person's guilty of. Also, I've been keeping an eye on Israel. What's going on there? I'm always interested. And the understanding that I've explained, what my understanding has been through all the videos I've watched and etc., is that we may see an attack on Israel. And how so, you ask? is that it may be a sign once we see it happen. And the reason I have an understanding that that may be true is that I'm watching Israel now, and if Biden gets in, then the glory days of Israel may come to an end in this world's time frame. Because I'm watching as Netanyahu, he's pulling away from Trump now, expecting Trump to go down and trying to suck up to Biden. And Biden is not Trump. Let's just put it that way. I think we all know that. And I think Biden will be a happier man, and his administration will be a lot happier if Israel is not so powerful anymore. And you know how they're always talking about the Palestinians' freedom and all this kind of stuff. Like they're on the side. In their minds, being on the Palestinian side, that's the side of good. I don't even understand if they even know what good is anymore. Do they even know what like a genuine good person behaves like? I doubt it. So I'm looking at the US defense of Israel is slowly crumbling. So I can see, I mean, and Israel's out. I think it was yesterday or the day before. They were out there bombing the crap out of everyone. And I can see, and their enemies are starting to surround them. And they always have been. But I can see without a US defense, they'll be sitting ducks. And Iran has guided missiles now, not just little mortar rockets and stuff that they can give to Hamas and fire over the fence through Israel. Through Iran. Hamas is now they've got the real deal. And from the understanding I was learning is that it happens very quickly, and the world like goes, whoa. And somebody else was saying how, I don't know about this. I'm still not sure about, is the USA, is it Mystery Babylon? I don't believe it is. I've had a very good teaching on that it's the Vatican. And but could it have a dual meaning? Could it be the US and the Vatican? Like the whore of Babylon. She rides the beast. And she has a cup full of abominations and Mystery Babylon written across her forehead. I mean, it just lines up. It lines up with a lot of things to do with the Catholic Church. I can see how America could be seen as that. I mean, you look at the Capitol, and it's just full of Egyptian obelisks. And what I put it down to, the capital of the US, it's a mixture of all of the ancient empires in one. It's a mixture of the Persian, the Egyptian, the Greek, and the Roman. All in one. All in one. And whatever else you can throw in there that disgusts our God. Because it disgusts him. And there's a time that comes, that is coming, that has come in the past, where he doesn't tolerate it anymore. And he comes to kick some ass. Justice is God's way, isn't it? Is he not? Is he not justice? Is he not truth? That's another thing. When Pontius Pilate, he asked Christ, he said, how did he ask it when he said, what is truth? Did he say, what is truth? Did he say it like that? Or did he say it like this? What is truth? If it's the last one, which is what is truth, it means that there's so many lies and so much corruption going around that, oh, the truth doesn't even matter anymore. If it's the first one, what is truth? Like that. That means that he doesn't know it. Pontius didn't know anymore. Because they had so many pagan gods and... yeah. And I think God chose Pontius for a reason. And it just reminds me of now. With the truth. I mean, look at the lies coming out of politics right now. It's the same, isn't it? They could sit there and say, you know, if you honestly are, they'd say, what is truth? And they would be the same as Pontius. They wouldn't know anymore. With all the CGI and the deep fakes and the... I mean, how confusing is it going to get to what was real? What you see on a screen. They could have Trump saying anything they want now. They could have the worst person look like the best person. They could have the best person look like the worst person. And I think that's where we're at now. What is truth? And I want to add that understanding of Christ coming to earth for 40 days before the seals kick off. Do you think he'll be answering similar questions? If he's standing in front of people and they don't know who he is, he would say, "Oh, I'm telling you the truth," and they'd say, "Well, what is the truth?" And Christ will say, I am the way, the truth, and the life. We're just sitting tight here at the moment. In my state where I live, they just did a lockdown and you know, they did all the usual stuff with it. And then you know what I'm finding really weird is they'll come on really strong with everything, you know, all the rules and the lockdown. I'm going to call it the lock-up. It's not a lockdown, it's a lock-up. They come really strong with all the rules and etc. And then they'll back off, like they'll kind of like nearly disappear. And then they'll come again really strong. I think that's their strategy. They only want to come back strongly when you've got your guard down again. It's like when you're asleep, you're vulnerable. And as I've explained in a few previous videos, you're vulnerable to attack. And that's what it does. It puts you back to sleep. They're trying to wear everyone out to just capitulate to the JAB. Do you have strength? Look, I want to be honest here. I don't want them anywhere near me. And what's funny is when we're talking about the escape, the timing of it. Some people are saying, oh, we should expect the escape as soon as 23rd of January or sooner. Some saying the 19th. Because of that 70 years of Jerusalem. The real 70 years. The way that they're rolling out the VAX, it seems to be after. Also, Israel is leading the charge with all this in the whole entire world. They've got the most people. They're bragging about it. They've got the most people taken care of. Let's put it that way. I mean, they're having protests and riots. Now, protests and riots. Do we take part? I've never taken part in one protest, in one riot. Number one, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't change anything. And it just begets violence. Now, we're supposed to be warning everyone and Christ is coming. Do you feel like we're at a point now where it's either you'll accept him or you won't? I look at some people and just consider how close we are, and they have the same attitude of hate, etc. And it's like, do you not understand the times we're in? You know, they're still trying to be millionaires. They're still trying to... These are the people who are out protesting. Some of them. They want that future here on earth. Just like the Jews, they're expecting their heaven to be on earth. Not up somewhere else in the third heaven. They want their heaven to be here. And their idea of heaven is, living a long time, having lots of farmland, having a big beautiful house here on earth, and peace, so you can have as much as, prosperity as you like. And that's what they want. It's crazy, isn't it? When you can be offered so much more. I don't see the attraction to the millennial reign. I just don't see the attraction to want to stay here. And they're saying that people can live hundreds of years in this millennial reign, but they still die. They still have children. You know what? I've been told by certain people that I wasn't meek and I was not going to inherit the earth. You know what I told them? I said, I don't want to inherit the earth. I want to inherit the third heaven. Why would I want to inherit the earth? I'm like, okay, you can have the earth. You're meek. You can inherit it. That's fine. I mean, we're being offered... It's like, here's a pile of gold and here's $20. And they're going, give me the $20. Yeah, if you wait, you can have this pile of gold. If you can wait 3 years, that's yours. Or you can have this $20 right now. Some people just go, give me the $20. They've tried that experiment on people in public. I think there's a channel called Mark Dice, and he went around, I think it was in California, he went around with a gold coin that was worth $1,000. And he went around, and in the other hand, he had $50. And he was offering the gold coin to people, or the $50, and some of them didn't even want anything to do with it. Some people were like, oh, give me the money, I don't know about the coin, and they just walked away. He wanted to show the world how stupid some people are. And I don't want to put them down in that way, but it is kind of counterproductive, their thinking. And that's how I see people. They want. We have a faith that of the unseen, don't we? We've never met Jesus. We've never seen him. We've never like walked with him. We've never talked with him. I mean, we do talk with him, in a sense. But yeah, in the physical, we've never seen him, and it's what I find funny. The people who did get to see him didn't believe in him. The people that never saw him have an undying faith, like they're ready to die for it. They're ready to have their life taken because they have such a conviction. And I think that was a lesson with that centurion that came up to Christ and said, "Can you heal my servant?" And Christ said, "Oh, okay, show me the way." He said, No, just your word will be enough." And Christ turned around to the Jews and said, "Look at this man's faith. I've never seen such faith. Like, you could learn a lesson from this." Because they're always, they wanted a miracle and a sign. I mean, we all know that. We all know the story there. So, also now when I picture Christ, if I want to picture a strong Christ, he's on the throne and he is powerful. And he's not to be messed with. Like when you get into his presence, you will go flat on your face, prostrate. You will lie down and you'll just be saying, I'm not worthy. That's what it's like. It's such a powerful experience. One that you'll never experience here. Can you imagine being in the presence of God? Just how awesome that would be. Just in the presence. Finally be able to look up and see Jesus Christ face to face. Tell you what, when it happens to me, I don't even know how I'm going to react. I don't even know. A lot of people say, "Oh, I'm going to be all throw my arms around him and all this kind of stuff." Like, I want to. Yeah, I want to just throw my arms around him. But you ever heard of starstruck? In awe, speechless when you meet a famous person. And that's just another human being. Like, let's say you met Michael Jackson when he was alive. The king of pop. You might make fun of him with your friends and stuff, but like once you get into his presence, it's like, oh, that's what they said about Elvis Presley. Was that when he entered a room, you knew it. And he was such a tall man too, like he would just, his presence, you could tell there was something about him, and that's why he was so famous. Right? But imagine Jesus Christ. Imagine being in his presence. It's just, it'll knock you off your feet. And hopefully, you know, he just comes and picks you up and makes you feel like everything's fine. I mean, that's what we're hoping. Of course he will. Of course he will. But we're talking about Jesus Christ. A lot of people are like, yeah, I'm ready for the rapture. I'm ready for the escape. Take me now. Take me now. Are you really ready? This has never happened. Ever. The rapture. Do we take it seriously enough, or is it just something we throw around amongst ourselves? The terms and the words and the... But have you ever sat down and thought about what the rapture and the escape will actually be like? I can't sit here and say, oh, I'm ready. I think I am. I hope I am. It's going to be something else. He's going to speak to you without speaking. You're going to hear him without listening. Christ. He is the center, almost the one and only thing we should be focusing on. Sure, you got family, you got to worry about bills and where's my money going to come from. I've been in that boat so many times. Not once have I been let down. Sometimes I even think, you know what, if I lived under a bridge and I still had Christ, I'd still be happy. If I lived in a forest with a tent and I still had Christ, that would be enough for me. You know, I was watching some gold mining shows on YouTube. You know, got people who look for gold for their living. And I was watching Three Grown Men. This was an Australian one, and they'd struck, you know, some fairly big chunks of gold. And you should have seen the way these men turned from men into like greedy little children so quickly. They disgusted me, the way they were reacting over this gold. It's like they lost all, as soon as this gold showed up, they lost all bearings on what being a civilized human being was. They turned into kind of like animalistic. It reminded me of people who deal drugs and the like. They just lost all sense of themselves. And I thought, you know what? In heaven, the streets are made of gold. And that's where our gold is. It's stored up in heaven, isn't it? Anyway, the times we're in, I say, come quickly, Lord. Take us out of this stinking, fallen, demon-infested. The whole world is a swamp. I thought of every nation the other day. I was thinking of every nation and thinking, there is not one place on earth you can go now that you'll be left alone, or you'll be happy, or you'll be able to prosper. There's nothing left. But there's a land of freedom and opportunity and happiness and joy and peace waiting for us. Anyway, people, I'm going to leave it there. I will catch up with you again shortly. It's been great having you back. Take care of yourselves, and I'll be back shortly.